Okay, excellent, excellent. And can we be in mode presentation? Okay. Are we good?
Oh, 1 second. Yes.
Are we in mode presentation?
I think so.
Okay, try again. I thought it was really small. I was saying that we were seeing the slide notes at the same. Ah, perfect. This is better. This is better. And and I think we have. It is my understanding that we're gonna have to leave this room 10 minutes before the hour. So Sushumna and I are going to be trying really to wrap up our presentation in around 30 minutes. That would provide at least some time for us to interact before they pull us out really of the room. Again, my name is Professor Moustapha Diack, and I am currently geolocalized in Dakar in Senegal. And it is my opportunity really to present with a colleague and a friend of mine, geolocalized right now in India. I'm sure she's going to have to say something. And the title of the presentation, Innovative Approach to Developing Interactive Educational Resource for Teaching, Learning, and Training using H5P Technology. I wanted to recognize pretty much those who support us, for this presentation. And at the bottom of the slide, you see that we have the Merlot organization, which is a global organization that is quite really known and that has been here since 1999 and 2000 for OER and higher education. And we have the Skill Commons, which is also part of that Merlot organization, and that is focusing on workforce development. And in the middle, we have also Digital Education Consulting. This is a new startup which is looking at really using distributed consulting for West Africa at this point, but we are located in West Africa, in India, and in the meantime in the United States. And of course, we just signed a memorandum of understanding and partnership with H5P. So we're recognizing H5P, and I am sure we have also really a catalog of open education resources that are H5P based in India. So that's what we have, the H5P catalog. So I just wanted to give the opportunity to, Sushumna, just to say something before we start the presentation.
Thank you, Professor. Myself, as he already uttered my name, Sushumna Rao. I'm a open education, openness practitioner, I should say. And also I advocate about OER. I'm a model educator certified professional edtech trainer from India. I heard about OER late 2000s, and then before that, I'm a big fan of open source technologies. And then when I got into education, I'm a big fan of OER, and then various authoring tools. I was experimenting, and then I'm now, as a H5P user, 7 years, 8 months old. I'm a big fan of H5P, and whatever I do towards OER, I keep thinking in those directions, how I can repurpose OER and to rethink and to represent the OER to our learners or the teachers or the participants of my workshops. That's how my association is with H5P, and I'll talk more about this in the coming presentation. Thank you so much, Professor Moustapha.
Thank you, Sushumna. And if you have the next slide, I'll just tell you what we're going to be covering. So we're going to be talking about OER search and find, and have a little bit discuss a little bit some OER initiative during the COVID-19 pandemic. We want to, at the second point, talk about the UNESCO OER recommendation. And number 3, we're going to be talking about the repurposing of OER to create interactive open education resources. And we're going to be talking also about some barrier to implementation of really H5P initiatives. And that's going to be dealing with the professional development needs and the quality assurance. So if we go to the next slide, and here, seriously, when we talk about OER search and find, I am just hoping that everybody understand that since 1999, you know, with the launching of the Merlot organization, that's where I can go far in terms of really organizing open education resources into repositories to enable faculty or trainers to search and find free resources under Creative Commons licensing and to use that in their courses and training. So there are a lot of these basically, and I was pointing to you some example, like for instance, the Merlot organization, Merlot standing for Multimedia Educational Resources for Learning and Online Teaching. So the reason I was focusing on that one is that when you join Merlot, you don't even need to join Merlot to be able to really to search more than 36 digital repository of open education resources. So we want to really to start with there. And since it is focusing on higher education, you join for free, you become a member, and you can have access to not only all the resources, but in the meantime, the community of practice around Merlot and OER quality assurance. The second one is really skill commons, because when we come to talk to open education resources now, we moving through some kind of transition to think in terms of workforce development. Skill commons, if you are in a country or developing country where you need really to build up some kind of skill for your own community in all industries that you can think of, we have a set of interactive resources that are really available there for adoption. In three, of course, we wanted to talk about the PhET simulations, because we have a lot of work focusing on the STEM discipline, the science, technology, engineering, and math. And PhET is providing some interactive resources for really laboratory use. So, and we cite also OpenStax and core knowledge there. The second big bullet really is talking about OER during pandemic. And I was mentioning earlier that if you look at the global OER community, each of the organization and community try really to provide some kind of curated resources to help during the pandemic. And here I have, for instance, in the United States, you know, we have the historically Black college and universities. We have 105 of them. So, and I was really under leadership of that community where we have really a research group. So during the pandemic with the Merlot organization, we had some kind of contingency plan to be able to help the institution to address really the different issues that they have. So, and the last item here is going with the UNESCO OER recommendation. That I think this had been really adopted, you know, by the UNESCO General Conference at the during the 40th session in November 2019. And if we look at the recommendation, next slide, we have really these recommendations. There are 5 of them: building capacity of stakeholders to create, access, reuse, adapt, and redistribute open education resources, developing supporting policies. You know, we have a session today that is focusing on that actually, encouraging inclusive and equitable quality OER, in the design of the OER and even its implementation. And number 4, nurturing the creation of sustainable model for OER. And finally, international cooperation, so that is really critical at that time. Now I have that list and I'm just going to hand it to Sushumna really to develop here a little bit.
Thanks, Professor. So I would like to understand, because we have been listening to this UNESCO recommendations and about OER a lot. Then when we read a sentence, right? I mean, we are all like various perspectives. We look at it in various ways and the interpretation might differ. But then as an amalgamated version, we might learn something new. So what we planned here is that we would like to know from you in a word or on a few words, that what would you use as a strategy to build capacity of stakeholders to create, access, reuse, adapt, and redistribute OER. I would like all of you to write that, to join in slido.com and just enter 120850, and then there you can type in. If it is not comfortable, then please feel free to type in the chat box. But I would like to see this in slido.com. I want all of you to join or scan with your mobiles this QR code and then enter 120850. Let me share that screen for you and let us understand. Let me just stop this and share that screen again. What I'm talking about. Yeah. Here I am.
What was the code again?
120850.
120850.
Yeah.
And you enter. Okay.
Yeah, please join.
Okay. I'm seeing it. I don't know if everybody is seeing that.
Is everybody seeing that? Is there any problem? What is your strategy like? I would like Professor Diack to throw some light on that. The first recommendation.
Yeah, well, I really think that's a good question here, and I am answering, for instance, here, engage local universities, and I think have many examples. I think some people are just adding something excellent. I think everybody seems to be reacting in here. Let me see here. And I do know, for instance, engaging policymakers.
Yeah, and
can be something.
Yeah, in the chat we have seen online workshop or conferences like this, maybe. Okay. Wow, interesting. Okay.
Oh,
yeah, that's really a good opinion in the chat. In many countries, stakeholders are not aware of what OERs are. Yes, absolutely. First, we have to create awareness. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yes.
I see engaging policymakers as well, because in my opinion, really for things to work out, you need really some policies to be set up, really to start with.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Good. That's good. Okay. Shall we quickly move to the second recommendation then?
Yep. That would work. Do we have anything from the chat room?
Yes, we have. That's what I read about it. And one is
Oh,
about,
did you? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the second one is, what would be your approach in developing supportive policy? That when you look at the OER recommendations, like how do you interpret this? In the same Slido, it is 120850. If you feel difficulty to access that, you can just type in the chat. I'd like to see, we are 10 people here, at least 10 words. Yes, always raising awareness. I feel even apart from awareness, motivating is also very important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can local community development. Okay.
Let me see.
Okay, let me move. Okay.
That's great.
Let's move on to the third one then. If nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody talks about accessibility and inclusiveness. Then what exactly do you think of this? How can we encourage inclusive and equitable quality OER? Even if you're interested, you can even unmute and talk about it.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll talk more about H5P.
It is removing the barriers for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at some point, quite frankly, at the level of designing the OER at that core level, to be able really to think in terms of really, universal design, learning principle, and all those things, so that you don't exclude anybody.
Can I raise my voice briefly?
Yes.
Yes.
That's not easy. In my experience, it's really awareness, because most people are not aware that they're blind people using interactive content, for example, or deaf people using interactive content, and they simply are not aware and they don't know. So again, this is probably the first step. And then if you have that, then have a system or a technical platform that supports that, it makes it easy to make things inclusive and accessible. So the authors don't have to take care of everything themselves. So ideally, the system should, do the work.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna have to throw there really the language. One of the most pervasive, issue here of inclusion is just the language barrier. Because so far we have still some silos where you have resources in English and you have a minority there in Francophone, for instance, stuff that cannot gain access to that same resource really right there. So I think those kind of barrier as well really need to be looked at really at the international level.
Correct. Absolutely. And as Oliver says that the system has to take care, like what I just want to understand is that, so like when I talk about this a lot, accessibility and inclusion in my training sessions, that an author, whoever is doing even a Word document, they should be really taking care, because the system is already providing us an opportunity to check accessibility, check this, that, and all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But are we really caring about it? So maybe the system should be like this, like it should pop up an error, or like, oh, you forgot to add all text to this, or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah.
you mean, Oliver?
Yeah, that as well. And well, of course, I'm a developer, and sometimes people come to me and say, could you create this content type for me? And they are not aware that their content type might not be accessible right on the go. So you have to think about things and change things a little. And that's what, it was more of a developer's perspective. But,
Okay, got it.
Yeah, for example, the alt image, the alt description of images was the best example, probably, because it if you have blind people, they can't see the image, so you have to give a good description. And H5P, for example, doesn't enforce it, but it at least marks that field as mandatory.
Yeah, but I feel H5P should mandate it. Like sometimes we can skip that, right? Like and also like we'll take Microsoft Word or a PowerPoint, like there is an accessibility checker, but how many of us really check when we prepare a presentation, or when we add, how many of us really check the order of the things on the slide? Because somebody, as Oliver said, somebody might be using a screen reader or some braille equipment. So we have to take care of the order of the elements on the screen too. So I'm talking from an academician perspective, Oliver, not from the developer. So how we have to take care while authoring any content. That's what I'm coming from.
Yeah, and still you have a little bit of smartness now in learning management system, even like Moodle.
Yeah,
you have an accessibility checker right there. But I think one of the core thing is really, and we talked about it, that is just raising awareness for people to understand that you can have two people and design something, only one of them going to take advantage of it and not the other one. So that's unacceptable. So there are really some extra steps that you need to go through so that it's going to be available really to both of those people.
Absolutely.
So we have a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah, absolutely, Professor. Thank you. And let's move on to the next one. Strategies would you use to nurture the creation of sustainability models for OER? Very interesting one. We see that many things just happen, and then they don't really think about, I mean, I don't want to name it, but the scalability of it, and then how it's sustained for further, like how we can really take care of it when we create. Here you meant engage government, okay. Okay, Professor, I would like to hear from you about this.
Yeah, and I think I was just starting to add some information there, because seriously, when you deal with faculty in institutions that are extremely busy, you just got to find some way that you can provide them with some incentive. And generally, a financial incentive within an institution, can help. We have some models now like that in Canada and some other countries, where at the institutional level, you have some kind of program and seed money that can support faculty to do this and do that. So in other words, at the local level, somebody gonna have to put at least his hand down to bringing some resources really to engage faculty and to support the developers and things of that sort, I think can be helpful.
Yeah, Absolutely, Professor.
Now, you have also some funding opportunities. We talked about the Hewlett Foundation earlier. You know, I mean, going through that, they can help, but at the local level, it is important that people pinch in and the governance be a little bit involved, really, because this is for the development of a country. So they need to really contribute to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me move on to the last one, and then we'll go to our presentation. And what are the barriers to facilitating international cooperation? This
Language.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the first. Yeah. But then are you not surprised? The kind of facilities we have these days, but even to cross that barrier. But definitely language is a huge barrier. Yes.
Yeah. But I see that one as well, like awareness, because seriously, we are not really used to what is called Creative Commons licensing, because generally people are still, you know, used to the old model where you develop something, you sit on it,
Yeah.
or you want to have a copyright behind it, you know, instead of releasing it there,
Yeah.
you know, in a Creative Commons environment. That Creative Commons, I know in Africa, we have a lot of work to do. That sharing, you know, is still a big issue.
Yes. And first, the key thing here is in all recommendations, what I observed here is first to create awareness, and then comes a motivation, and whether it in various forms that we just talked about it. So I can conclude that first we have to create awareness, and then we have to see how to motivate and strategize things to happen to build a sustainable model, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
conclude it here, and then we'll move on to our presentation. And here it is. Let me just move on. Yeah.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, you know, interactive session, and for everybody's, you know, contribution, because we all know that sometimes it is not just about setting recommendations,
Yeah.
but that is explaining them so that everybody can take ownership of it, you know? So that's why it is critical for us really to open those kind of discussion. And now really we're talking here, getting to the body of our, you know, topic here, and where we would really discuss a little bit of innovative ideas in not only developing open content really that are interactive, because who say interactive means, quite frankly, learning, you know, in digital environment for sure. Now that those innovation need to embed really that aspect of interactive, because that's what the research is saying now. And in the meantime, we talk about these issues of inclusiveness. Inclusiveness, it really is a broad term that can include, for instance, accessibility issues, you know, language barriers that we talked about earlier, and the design really of the open education resources, so that if I am in India and I design something, people in another part of the world should be able really to use it and adapting it to their own environment. So that's really a broad term in there. So we're going to just now dive into really these matters. And as we talk about really here, if you look at the research, you know, in actually that is online education, that really interactivity, you know, and the student engagement is really the key to learning. So interactive content should promote active learning, encourage really learner active participation. You know, that's how learning take place. Allow to track really the learner in your learning environment, to be able at least to, you know, pay attention to those who need some support, providing an opportunity to comment and and communicate, and help learner to achieve their learning objective or their learning goals. So the next slide. And interactive content authoring tool, as we know, we have really many, many authoring tools, at least in the past, that you can find different OER authoring tools. And at this point, we were really focusing on, I see we give some example like ZT and adaptive, but H5P is seriously an innovation that we think really going to be able to transform, our open education landscape. Now, this is H5P Technology and the Jubal company who's really overseeing H5P. That's a fast-growing software provider with mission to improve the life of 100 million of people around the world by empowering educators to create, share, and reuse, better open learning content faster. Now they receive, of course, award-winning, won some award, but H5P can be presented as a framework to allow everyone to create, share, and reuse interactive HTML5 content. And it is very, very easily integrated in different sites and learning management system and so forth. Now, for the third point, I want to just say that we offer now content type allowing user to create rich and engaging, resources without any design and programming skill. For instance, now we know we have 50 content type, including the development or design of interactive videos, virtual 360 tour, branching scenario when you deal with really critical thinking, like in the engineering and the STEM disciplines. And finally, not only you have H5P, which is as a size version of H5P, but we have also the H5P org, which is quite frankly an open community that you can join, use the tool, develop resources that you can share, and in the meantime, be part of a community at some point to be able to adopt resources that have been created by others. So if we go to the next slide, this was just a cloud to show that it is free. The content are reusable, as we talk, efficiency and rich content and so forth. That's for creating, sharing, reusing, and modifying content really for adoption. So, and on the next slide, I'm just going to take Sushumna. Who is quite frankly, when we talk about H5P right now, one of the really big leaders in this area, quite frankly, in terms of design and training. So I'm going to hand it to Sushumna.
Thank you, Professor. Yes, as I said, I'm 7 years, 8 months old with H5P. And initially, when I started working with that, I thought, because there is a tech person somewhere inside, because being a techie, I always look at things in those lines. But then being in academia, when I came into training faculty and all, then I thought of looking at this technology in a different perspective. And then practicing it, mainly I used H5P for developing content in our original language Telugu. First, I started those lines, and when it didn't support my language, and I used to really, as Professor just explained, that the kind of a strong community we got with this open source technology is really, really amazing. The moment you post there in a very couple of hours or sometimes couple of minutes, you get the response. And I see how H5P technology grew since then. I mean, past 7 years, I've been looking at it. And then recently, when I developed a course for open education for better world on using H5P to create interactive content with use cases, I submitted. And that course was free. And when I ran that course, and then I understood from other people's perspective, and while developing that course, I got an idea looking at Stuart Millar's periodic table of H5P. And then I thought, why don't I get inspired from that and develop some other kind of a periodic table where I can segregate these H5P content types, like how we can utilize as a presentation tool, or I can present it with a task, or I just use it as a task to engage my learners. or is it just a audio based, or is it just a task and any assessment task? So that way I segregated these and I prepared this this open image. Again, I launched even active, I mean interactive part of this also I developed using image hotspots of H5P. I definitely share that with you all. Coming to this, the use cases, when we understand this, every teacher in academia will look at the technology not from a technical perspective. They look at it like learner engagement and then ease of use. H5P is one kind of an authoring tool where it just allows us not only to address various learning theories, I must say here, and apart from that, accessibility and inclusion. Yes, I am also trying to experiment with a kind of a content type I recently am helping to develop to test with deaf and dumb people, and also visually impaired and or auditory problem people. So I would like to very soon present that information also. And coming to this image, when I just created this image, I got an idea. I will use this with the image hotspots. When you first introduce H5P to anyone, as a tool, they just look at it. Wow, it's nice. I just can create it. But then the first question that comes to their mind is, how do I present this to my learners? Right? And then, or where do I keep this? When I develop this, where do I put it? Many people I come across that they use, the moment I say H5P, oh, I know that. I just created my account in h5p.org and then I share from there. No, h5p.org is just only provides us a place where we can experiment, we can practice, and we can see what others are doing or to interact with the community. But then there is, of course, there's a very big initiative coming pretty soon. It'll be launching H5P OER Hub, where you can see people who are contributing as OERs, various interactive content types, right? So when I'm going through all these questions, I came across with a wonderful tool, an application called Lumi. It's again open source, free and open source application where you can install it on your system. You can download it. You can go to lumi.education. And then you can download it from there, this application, and then you can create your H5P content. Not only you can create, you can always share, distribute with your learners. And then there is another option, Lumi Analytics. You can even see some analytics over there. It's a very, very wonderful option to create the content offline and to distribute them. See, whenever there is open source software, everybody will think that it's free so that I can just use it. No, first it needs an environment to run, right? That's how we need some kind of an environment to run that particular interactive content, right? So apart from, okay, I think it's a warning. I must pretty soon, I must conclude definitely. How do I go? It's, oh my, okay.
Just go
And
ahead.
there is a initiative that I planned and launched in India. It's called H5P Catalog, and then where I made people to register, and then I used to moderate them with a rubric. Actually, in a presentation, that rubric is there. How to maintain the quality of the content that they create, which is very, very important. And that content, H5P content, is created repurposing OER. There is OER, a lot of OER is already available, which is static. My idea is to make it into interactive and present it to the learners around the world, to the academia with the open license. That's all H5P or catalog is all doing about. I'm so sorry, we are in short of time, I believe. Any questions, please?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I want to just to set something there on the stage. Thank you, Sushumna, really for covering this, because we know we have an issue with time. But there are two things really in terms of barrier. One main barrier is really training, really, the workforce that can be able really to come and really create, H5P based OER. And I think, your presentation is coming up. So that's the issue of workforce development And the other one is really quality assurance. We need really to come up with standards and processes that would enable us really to be able to evaluate, quite frankly, the quality of an H5P based OER. Those are things, and I wanted just to make sure that Sushumna and I are part of a startup right now that is offering really high quality training, helping faculty and professionals to be able to design, H5P based OER. We're going to make sure that we secure the list of all the participants. And early in 2022, we're going to have some kind of free sessions, while we're launching our courses. You may be really the first one to join us as we pilot all this for our organization. I think that's also Shumna. I guess we have 3 minutes before they push us out really to the main room. Do we have any question and any comments? You can type on the chat, or you can raise your hand and just, pick up the mic.
If I want to have some training, hands-on experience on working with this H5P OER development, what should I do? Wait till 2022 till you launch on, or can I any site?
Actually, yeah, H5P itself got a wonderful tutorials. That's the beauty of this tool, that every content type is well explained, and you can always go there and look at and refer them. And also there is already an open course at Open Education for Better World. There you can find my open course. It's for free, you can access, but there won't be any facilitator around. The course that we are talking about, we will be launching soon, is it will be facilitated, and with the live lectures and various use case showcases. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to do, since we're going to be securing the name of everybody who participated to this, we're going to be sending some information if you wanted to download our slide deck, number one. And number two, at least we can get back with you if you open those courses, And I can tell you that the first set of courses, we're just going to be offering that for free, through the Merlot and Skill Commons. So you can join at least, for free at that thing. We're going to be following up with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Asked, is there any payment required? H5P is a free and open source tool. As I said, it requires an environment to run what we call it SaaS. That is, it requires some environment. That's what h5p.com is providing. Or as I said, H5P catalog is for Indian teachers that I thought of providing some training, and then repurposing OER and then publishing it as interactive content with the open license. That's my initiative. That's now I should call it our initiative, H5P catalog. You can register there, and then maybe you can talk more about it there. That's a free platform to host your content, but then the only idea is to share your content as OER.
Yeah. Do we have any kind of form for people who want to learn something? How are you going to do that?
I just shared a Google form, Professor, about if they are interested about new courses that are gonna come pretty soon.
Oh, okay. I did not see that. Did you share it on the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I shared it on the chat.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Oliver. Anything else? I always see him on the forums. I never met him, and this kind of conferences and especially openness, I must say, taught me a lot, and then gave me good friends like Moustapha, Professor Moustapha. I think Dr. Ramesh Sharma ji bhi hai idhar, and Dr. Ramesh Sharma from India, and Oliver, yes, and there are many like this. Namaste, Ramesh Sharma ji.
Namaste.
How are you?
Good.
Namaste.
So any your comments on the session, sir?
No, I must congratulate you for this wonderful session. In fact, when you were asking about that barriers to institutional collaboration, I wanted to say that in addition to learning language, which Professor Moustapha said, and one more comment. To me, I believe that a big issue is the institutional policy.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's a big barrier for the collaboration. Means people want to collaborate, like Caroline is here in this session, or Igor is there in this session. And if we say that, okay, can we collaborate? On personal level, it is easy. Means we can select a topic, we can work on that. But when it goes to institution, then definitely those how it will be done, what will be, and the money part comes the first thing. The administrators, they will first, oh, do we have to pay something? That's the first thing. And secondly, more interested in making a visit to another country. Means
Yeah.
that point
Yeah.
is there. If there is no visit, then the temperature cools down.
Absolutely.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
Ramesh. Yeah.
That is
Yeah, and Sushumna, I think there's something wrong with your form. I cannot sign it to fill it up for some reason. But what we can do is really try to get the name of all the participants here. And
Okay.
if we can send them that, I'm sure we can check
Yeah.
with the organizers so
Yeah.
that we can make this available.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Actually, you can take a screenshot, and all these names, they are in the OER Camp Global website
sir.
as attendees.
Yes,
So
sir.
it is easy to check.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I agree with the issue of policy. That's what we're dealing with in West Africa here. It's not going to go until you define some kind of local policies here to integrate open education resources. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
Now, one more thing I have noted that when I say we means on a larger, broader scale.
Yes.
We talk about OER, but we don't do OER. Means I can find, you will laugh at it. I am the OER ambassador for OER Foundation, led by Dr. Wayne McIntosh. And there is a university here in India. I think I gave them the memorandum of understanding, which is very simple, which is super simple, the MOU of OER Foundation to join OERU network, Open Educational Resource University network. For 3 years, they are not able to read those 8 pages. Okay. And then I think they have requested me to give to take a webinar on OER, to give them to speak to them on OER for, I think, more than 5-6 times. Now I have stopped because I told them that you want me to give lecture to you, but you are not ready to sign. In fact, you don't have time. Means 8 page, 3 years time. If you make, means if you read 1 line per day, even I think by that time you could have completed that.
Yes.
So we are more talkers, but not doers. And that is a
absolutely
bad thing happening in the field of OER.
And let me ask you, sir, when this year OE4PW announced for a call for papers and this and that, and past 2 months, I'm engaged with the college in a few months, and I trained around more than 200 faculty, and with hands-on, finding what is OER to finding OER to repurposing OER. Then it is a huge task for me just to motivate them to come and do it. Even then, I must congratulate the college that H5P catalog was started with is Stella College of Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh of India. Now they are coming up with second set of things, and there a small momentum started, sir. I hope that it should go. But the catalog got attention of other users of the globe, but where my intention is towards the country, India, where I need people there to come forward and repurpose and publish.
Yeah,
Mm.
yes.
The motivation always, as I said, we have to incentivize, or as you said, the policies, it should come.
No, it is a sorry state that even the open universities, they are not doing anything about OER, which they are supposed to be in a way, the torch bearers in the field of open educational practices and open educational resources.
Yeah.
In open universities.
Yeah. And really what I wanted really to add here, if you are really a strong believer, you know, and if you want to spread the gospel of OER, don't let those kind of things defer you from anything. You know why? Because I'm in it since 1999 and I am still trying to raise awareness. Can you imagine this? You know, so it's gonna come because that's the only way you can look at it, you know? And we are some missionary really, you know, to try to help our communities learn more, adopt it. It's gonna happen, I can tell you. And work with Sushumna because she's representing Skill Commons and Merlot in India. And we're trying to find some strategies. It's always a good idea locally to start talking to each other. I'm looking forward to really contributing and connecting with you in the future, actually.
So let's go back to main room. There is a message.
Yeah.
They're waiting for us.
Thank you.
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
What should we
Bye.
do? What should we do here? We
You
need to
have to
leave the
click on
room.
leave the room. Leave the room, Professor.
Where is it? Okay.
On the right side. you
Not
will-
the
That
meeting.
blue button in the bottom.
The blue on the right.
Oh, in the board. Okay. I've not seen anything yet. Okay.
Leave the room. On the right.
Leave the room, yes.
Team global, one globe is there. Blue globe, team.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see.
You click it, breakout rooms, it says leave.